everyone, it's Esabelle and I have a very special guest, my friend Paul.
Hello everyone.
And we are going to be doing an INFJ, ISTJ, What Would You Rather, courtesy of Paul's friend Theresa behind the camera.
Oh, that was my idea. And just in
Yes.
case you guys are confused, she's the ISTJ and I'm the INFJ.
I don't think anyone's going to buy that. You know that, right?
I mean, people mistype me all the time, so for all we know, they could.
So it was his idea, but she's the one who wrote the questions, so she's going to be the narrator and we're going to be answering the questions. She already made me very nervous about the last one, so let's just get this underway. And
Yeah, this is a blind reaction to her question. I have no idea what she wrote, so hopefully we are adequately prepared for the lack of preparation.
Okay, Theresa, hit us with all you got.
Okay. Would you rather go for a walk outside or go to a party with close friends?
Before or after pandemic?
After.
Like now?
No.
I wouldn't normally choose this, but I'd say a party.
I think I would probably want to go for a walk out if the weather was nice. But if the weather wasn't nice, then I think maybe a party would be nice if it... Oops, I'm looking at her phone. I should be looking at the camera. Okay, now that I'm focusing, I would definitely rather do whatever is the quieter and more not getting messy option. Because if it's pouring rain, and if I have the option to be indoors where it's nice and warm, then I might be more willing to...
I'm sorry.
She's doing the silent language. I might be more willing to try out a party, but if the party was more uncontrollable and chaotic, then I might just like excuse myself and pretend I have to go to the bathroom. Would you do that too, because you said party in your answer?
Yeah, I would say if it gets too out of hand, then I'd probably be like, bathroom time. And I'm not coming out until I stop hearing screaming.
Except unlike you, I would probably like not even bother disguising it. I just say, guys, It's too loud, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I could see you doing that. Maybe since you're the guest, you could answer first always, so that way it's like preset. The answer goes to you first.
Oh, okay, sure.
Just a courtesy.
Would you rather read a book about fine arts or a book about science?
What's fine arts again?
Like sewing, drawing, things of that sort.
Painting.
Painting, yes.
Sure.
I guess I would have to say science if you put it like that, because I'm such a terrible artist that I wouldn't want to take the risk of potentially not being good at the thing I was reading about. Whereas science, it's like, science helps you learn objective facts about the world. You can't really fail learning about objective facts unless if you get your facts wrong, I suppose.
That's true.
Yeah, I'd rather read a book about fine arts, although I'd rather not read a book about anything unless if it's Harry Potter. So if there was a middle option to just say, let's not read it at all, that's what I would pick.
Well, I would definitely say, since you guys know I'm passionate about psychology, and that's a field of science, so yeah, kind of a giveaway for all you people out there. Yeah, definitely science, especially if it's psychology.
Would you rather read DC Comics or Marvel Comics?
Marvel Comics, because I just don't really know anything about DC, whereas with Marvel I've seen not all of them, but most of them, and I really like most of them, especially Infinity War and Endgame. You'll have to zoom in on me because my hair is just not wanting to behave today. It might be neat to like get more background into some of these beloved characters. And I don't know, maybe in the books Thor is described as having a beard. Oh wait, no, Thor does have a beard in movies.
I wouldn't know.
Oh right, you haven't seen Marvel. But yeah, DC is just a whole new world for me, and I don't like exploring whole new worlds, so I'd rather go with the familiar world.
Well, for me, okay, who's in Marvel, who's in DC? I really don't
Marvel
know
is
superhero stuff that
Spider-Man,
much.
Iron Man, Ant-Man, a lot of man in here. Black Panther, Captain America,
Okay.
Thor. There's so much more that isn't in the Marvel Cinematic. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. DC is more like Batman,
Okay.
Wonder Woman,
Superman.
Fantastic Four, I think, is also in DC.
Aquaman.
I'm not really highly into superhero stuff. I've probably seen like the most of Spider-Man movies, like the older ones. You said Batman was in DC?
DC, yep.
I still might go with DC simply because Batman kind of intrigues me. He's a superhero, but he's really more of an anti-hero to many people. It's a dark past. I love things that are very psychological. I've been meaning to get a hold of the Joker movie. It's been recommended to me, and I heard it's like rated R, but I heard it also has like a lot of psychological elements.
So you've heard it first here, audience. ISTJs prefer Marvel, INFJs prefer DC.
I guess. Is that a running rule now?
I mean, this quiz was designed with our two types in mind, so are we like the poster man / poster woman of our types?
Well, you guys tell me in the comments which you prefer and what type you are. Maybe we can, get some statistics on this.
Maybe we can get some INFJs agreeing with me, because we INFJs have to unite, right?
I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, I'm like, the thought of you being an INFJ
Such a
is
typical
so...
ISTJ response. Not knowing how to respond to an unexpected situation.
I'm running on like a couple hours of sleep. You're killing my brain. I can't think anymore.
Does that mean you want to give up on this quiz?
No. I don't know if there's a winner or a loser, but I'm not backing out.
All right, let's continue this.
Would you rather be able to fly or be able to control time?
I'd rather be able to fly because flying sounds like a lot of fun, and I love roller coasters and I love thrill rides. Whereas controlling time, I would potentially be tempted to manipulate time, and I personally feel like the choices I've made are in like the best possible timeline, and I wouldn't want to screw that up if, for example, picking up a candy wrapper when I might have ignored it could potentially cause a ripple in the time-space continuum.
I have to go with the opposite because I do agree with the whole that would be so cool thing. But as far as practicality, I don't want to mess with past events. But I do want to be able to extend time and freeze time, because can you imagine how productive it would be to be able to freeze time and get like 5 days worth of work done and then like unfreeze it and everybody unfreezes and I can like socialize again. It didn't feel like I was gone.
Maybe you wouldn't be an introvert then.
What?
Maybe you wouldn't be an introvert if you were able to do more stuff productively without time, and then you could say, all of a sudden, all of this energy that's being drained is not being drained. So maybe you'll become an ENFJ if that works.
He's got a point, guys. I still don't know if I wouldn't be an introvert, but I can tell you I probably would seem a lot more extroverted.
I do think ISTJs have a natural ability to make it seem like we're freezing time because we just naturally get things done when we want to. And so I think maybe if you switch places, like we said at the beginning of the video, maybe then you could say, maybe I would choose to fly then.
Maybe. Although, to be fair, I didn't agree to the whole switching places. I'm quite happy with nothing wrong with ISTJ, but I'm quite happy.
We can switch places on the bench if nothing else. See, we did swap.
And you get the painting behind you,
yes.
That cursed painting. It's gonna crack before this trip is done.
Except me being the censor of the bunch, I probably will notice that it's there the whole time.
That's probably a good thing that we switched then, because he's way less oblivious than I am. Like, he notices everything, and I'm just like, I hope I don't trip over my feet today.
I even noticed the leg hair you forgot to shave.
Why are you saying that on camera? You're in trouble, mister. Okay, next question, please.
Would you rather always walk with a limp or lose sight in one eye permanently?
Oh.
I'd like to always walk with a limp, because if I were to lose sight in one eye permanently, that would affect my depth perception and thus make it harder to observe the world. So I would definitely prefer the option to limp, because then it's not like it's stopping me from walking, it's just making it harder. Whereas you literally lose your depth perception when you only have one eye.
I have to agree with him. I would... What's that? Teresa's doing this behind the camera. What is that?
Our mateys.
Anyway, I don't remember where I read this, so it could be totally wrong. It could be misinformation, so please don't take my word for it. But I remember reading that men are usually more visual and women are more like in tune with auditory. And I'm like very visual. I draw and I edit. I remember things visually. I don't remember names of things, but I remember like where things are and what it looks like.
She's so visual that she even knew how big my chest was so that she wouldn't wallop me in it when she was doing her, "Hey everyone!" introduction.
Yeah, but I did test it out just to make sure I didn't pummel him. We're actually in agreement. We don't agree on it.
What do you know? That's one for however many questions there. We didn't even prepare that much.
Would you rather visit a city or visit the farmlands?
I would rather visit the city just because it's nostalgic and there are more places to shop and get things done. Whereas I think the farmlands, usually it's a lot of heat and a lot of smelly animals and not much to do, and it's usually muddy, and it feels like it's a breeding grounds for getting messy. And not only that, but in the city there's probably more shade.
I agree with you once again. I don't mind the country for like the mud and the heat, but
The heat never bothered you anyway.
that would be my version of the song. The cold, I can't stand it. But to answer the question, the reason why I really would agree with you is for one, I already live in the country and I'm half an hour away from being able to do anything if I need to do something. And we have rattlesnakes and we have sandbirds and we have ticks. And I like the country, but I don't like being in the country whenever it is like that. Whereas the city, one, it's a new experience for me. I haven't been in the city all that much. And two, it's more practical because there's a lot I have to do in town, like different places that I film, different people that I meet, and it's just more convenient and practical to be nearby everything. And I could bike places instead of using gas all the time, so I save money.
Being money efficient is something I value as well.
Yes.
Would you rather learn about cars or learn about nuclear physics?
I think I'd rather learn about cars because cars are pretty practical, they are used by almost everyone in society. Whereas nuclear physics, like off the top of my head, I can't think of a single thing that they're useful for. I don't think it would really have a lot of application in my life. Then again, I would hope that if I could learn about cars, it would be in a way that doesn't require me getting messy. Because man, I've heard horror stories about like oil getting caught on people's hands and it just sounds like torture.
I agree with you. I don't really want to get messy, but it's just, where would I use, you said nuclear physics? Like, where would you use that unless you're actually in that field? Whereas cars, I'm like, if my car breaks down, I really want to know what's going on. So it's just more practical.
Would you rather go to a concert or go to the pool?
Oh.
This question was written for me, wasn't it? Obviously, I would go to the pool, as everyone knows. Why would I want to go to a concert with a bunch of loud screaming people when I probably don't even like the music to begin with, even if it was quiet? And not only that, but a lot of people smoke at concerts.
Oh, yeah.
So the air would be like potentially cancer-inducing. I mean, then again, everything is cancer-inducing according to the internet. But it would be like more likely for me to get lung cancer, and that's how my grandpa died. So I would prefer not to have to suffer his fate.
I would say also pool because I haven't really been to many concerts. I went to the 𝑬𝑭𝑭𝑬𝑹, which was a free concert at my college. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. But it wasn't like a big event some concerts can be. And also, I would say it's good exercise to go to the pool. I'm actually doing something, and to be frank, I don't do enough doing in my life. I do more watching. I want to travel more. I definitely go pool too.
And we actually did go to the pool together during this visit. You'll be able to check that out on my channel.
Uh-huh.
Would you rather watch TV or read a book?
If it's a Harry Potter book, I would rather read a book, but for 99% of the rest of the time, I'd rather watch TV. Because TV, like I could catch up on Arthur because I kind of grew out of it after a while, but then every now and then I really like watching the reruns. Mm-hmm. I could rewatch Once Upon a Time, which is like the only TV show that I still keep up with. I could rewatch the Harry Potter movie, most of them. I don't think I'd ever want to rewatch Half-Blood Prince again. But books are just so painful to get through. Like, it seems like books just take too long and you can't really forward a section in a book. Like in a movie, if you can detect that something is going on that might make you uncomfortable, you can like close your eyes or mute the TV but still have a visual. Whereas with books, you have to keep reading every single page, unless if the book has a lot of illustrations. But like, it's not like I can just say, oh, this page has something that makes me uncomfortable, I'm gonna skip it. So yes, I would much rather watch TV.
It kind of depends on what I'm reading and what I'm watching. Reading about nuclear physics and learning about that versus watching an episode of Monk. I'm gonna go with Monk.
I tried watching Monk a few years ago and it was interesting.
It's a good series. Like I know some people will say that they're making fun of people with disabilities, but actually I remember one of the directors say that what they're trying to show is even people who have a lot of disabilities and have some crippling fears that would normally stop people, and you can still be a hero, you can still make an impact. And I just love that message of it. It's not the only show I watch, but it's really good.
If you're gonna give a plug to Monk, the outlet's over there. Oh, I can't wait to see the editing tricks that she uses on this in the final video. It'll probably be like this. It'll probably be a filter that has like rain clouds coming down, and then an image of a gravestone that says "R.I.P. Esabelle, year of birth down to 2022."
Please, next question.
Would you rather use markers or highlighters?
Highlighters, less chance of getting messy.
For what?
Anything.
Okay, well, I guess I have to go with highlighters because I do keep up with my schedule. I highlight, like, say, every time I need to post on my social media, every time I try to write to you guys and try to, like, message you guys, like, I have it tallied so I don't forget because I have so much going on. I will just go crazy without my to-do list. And highlighters help me to realize, like, okay, yellow is keeping up with you guys online and on my social media. Blue is more business related.
Oh,
and
that
just
kind of highlighter? I thought you were referring to like the thing that looks like a marker, but it doesn't bleep out the letters.
Yeah, that's it. Like you put it over the words and then it.
Oh, I thought you were
tilts
referring
it.
to editing on like Microsoft Word or something.
Oh,
If that's the case, then now I doubly stand by my answer.
well, how was the question meant?
But that was it. Just in general, which would you rather use?
Okay, definitely highlighters.
Okay. Then, would you rather play video games or board games?
Another question directed at me. You can tell which one of us she already knew ahead of time.
Yes, I can tell.
I would definitely rather play video games. Again, the name of my channel should kind of give it away. I honestly think if I went the rest of my life with no board games, I would have no problem.
I enjoy an occasional board game. I'm not much of a gamer, but ever since I did get the VR set, I would have to say definitely video games in VR. I think it really helps to make me more aware of my surroundings, and it kind of helps keep me on my toes and more observant of stuff. And
You were aware of that one, so you're getting
I
better
have to be
at it.
aware of you. You tried to kill me in the pool!
Would you rather do the dishes or laundry?
I'd rather do the dishes because I used to work as a dishwasher for 10 years. I have professional expertise with that. I also think that washing the dishes can be slightly therapeutic at times.
Yeah, I agree with the therapeutic part, and I'm not really like partial to either one, but I would probably go dishes simply because I just usually do them more. So I'm guessing the fact that I usually do them more means that I do even subconsciously prefer to do them.
All right. Would you rather have an in-person meeting or do a video chat?
I would rather have an in-person meeting because, well, for one, that's what we're doing. And for two, as much as the hardcore thinking types of the world would like to deny me, there is a certain satisfaction to touch because it produces a hormone known as oxytocin. It's also been proven that if you're not touched enough, then you have the possibility of dying prematurely.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
think that it could be a challenge to like the dominant thinkers of the community to be like, okay, you're all about logic and reasoning. Oxytocin, being healthy, living longer, that's a pretty darn logical reason. So start hugging more, start being more touchy-feely. INTPs, be in touch with your feelings.
Oh no, I can think of when I'm TV, you're burning right now. I'm so sorry.
And you can do more stuff, like go to the pool and try to murder people there.
We really should have gotten it on camera. Like, be like, go to the police and be like, you know what he tried to do to me? Here.
We can always
Watch
do a
it.
reenactment.
No, I don't want you to try to kill me again. No. I like that you brought up oxytocin because there actually have been studies where if babies are not held enough and talked to enough, they will actually die of that. That's the only thing that they can figure out, and they did find, like, it seems like low oxytocin to be the cause of that. So yeah, that is very, very true. We're on the same page.
For once.
I'm sorry, what was the question again? We got so off topic on the oxytocin. He blinded me.
It was
with science,
would you rather
so-
okay, I'm gonna do an ISTJ moment and remember what was going on
Okay.
before. Would you rather meet up in person or in a video chat?
That's right. Okay. Definitely in person because I agree with the touch, being able to be there in person and not having a screen between you. Just can't replace it.
Would you rather live eternally in fall or spring?
Live eternally. My gosh, that sounds terrible. But if I had to pick between the two of them, I would say in the autumn time because there's less chance of rain. You get to play in the leaves. My ex-girlfriend's name is Autumn. Cut that out.
I finally went too far, guys.
And also just autumn is just much more of a pleasant time of the year to go like on hikes and stuff before the snow piles up too much. Well, where I live we have snow, that is.
I need to know, is it spring in Oklahoma where the wind comes sweeping down the plains every spring? Or is it someplace that doesn't try to kill you every year?
The latter option.
So, okay, so good spring. Okay.
Yeah, good spring.
I would probably say spring more than fall. Like, I like both. But I don't know, I like the vibrant colors. I like the greens. I love my green. It feels like, rebirth and new life, and it's just very encouraging to me.
As soon as you said all this green, I was looking over at my shoulder in my peripheral vision and realized that part of my shirt is green.
Yes.
And it made me think, this audience is going to say, why would an ISTJ wear a dance party shirt? A moment in my past was very significant on a Tuesday, and Tuesday is when the dance parties were held on the mission trip. So we always have to go with what's familiar.
Would you rather go hiking in a forest or on a mountain?
I would rather go hiking in a forest because the mountain has more chances of having an accident. And it also might be a little bit too cold if I go too high up. And if it was in a forest, you didn't say I couldn't specify which forest. So I could say, ooh, I want to go to the woods, like near my old house, because that has a lot of nostalgia to it.
I would say probably the mountain, so long as I would kind of like handrails, but it's just not something that I've done as much. And so it's like new experiences, and I get to really know what it's like to be on top of the world, and just it feels amazing the few times I was at Pine. Whereas I live right in a whole wooded area, and there's really pretty woods, but I'm just kind of used to the woods out there, and it's just kind of the same thing that I see every day whenever I'm home. So I'd rather choose the mountain because it's new.
For communication, would you rather text or call?
I would much rather call because I have a flip phone and it is really annoying to send texts. Not only that, but a lot of people are grammatically incorrect when they text, and sometimes it's like hard to tell what they're actually trying to say, especially on Discord. So I prefer calling because it's kind of hard to be grammatically incorrect on the phone. I mean, some people do it anyway, like they'll say a double negative, but
Yeah.
I think that's just what I was used to. Like when I was a kid, there was no such thing as cell phones except for those big bulky things that the delivery men used. So I grew up with a landline and I didn't have a cell phone until I was well into my adult years. Again, sticking with the familiar option. There should be like a tally that you put called how many times the ISTJ references the familiar.
I mean, that's going to be filling the whole screen. I agree with you on the call because I would much rather be able to hear tone of voice, because really, I've heard different stats. I'd have to really research deep to know official stats for this, but I think it's only like 10 to 20% of communication is just like the words that you're speaking. A lot of it is intonation and pause. Body language is still something you can't pick up over the phone, but still better to have more cues than just the words by themselves.
That, and sometimes you have to send text twice to me, whereas over the phone, she doesn't have to repeat herself.
Only he and my sister have that problem where they're like, oh, I didn't get your text. And I'm like, what?
I haven't sent that in quite a few months now, and you have slipped up and I've still gotten them, so it might be better.
Have I slipped up, or maybe it just didn't send the first time sometimes?
I don't know. It's another mystery that you'll have to do on that Discovery Channel thing that talks about Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's a pretty big mystery.
Would you rather paint a masterpiece or compose a song?
I would rather compose a song because I actually have written songs. That was actually my very first YouTube video on my channel, was a song that I wrote. I cannot draw to save my life. And I mean that literally, because if someone asked me, like, draw a good painting or you're dead, I'd be like, just kill me now then. Because I can't even draw a circle most of the time. I don't know if I'd be able to compose a song in the near future, but it would be way easier than drawing.
I guess I'd have to go with the opposite. Well, okay, say I had equal ability in both, I'd go with song, because I'm, uber into music more than just staring at paintings. I appreciate paintings, but music is like every day for me. So I think if I had equal ability, I'd go with music. But given my current talent or lack thereof for music, I gotta go with the masterpiece. I come from a long line of artists from my mom's side, and all of us have this innate ability. Many also have education in it. I'm one of the few who broke the mold and went for science instead of an art. But they're extremely good artists, and I did at least inherit some of the genes. Okay, I don't want to say I can draw well. Maybe I'll just put some pictures up here and let you guys be the judge. But it doesn't look like a 4-year-old did it, so I think it's fair in my opinion.
Of course, if anyone can draw better than me, it's automatically a masterpiece.
I don't know about that, but I don't think you could do that bad. I gotta see your drawings now.
Oof. It's one thing to believe, it's another for your belief to be misfounded.
For the topic of your choice, would you rather give a speech to a large group of people or do a series of videos about it describing it?
This probably will surprise you with me being an introverted type, but I would rather give a topic to a large crowd of people because I've had experience with public speaking, mainly because I was well aware of the subject material and knew what I was talking about. I know my abilities and I don't feel like I need to cripple myself.
Yeah.
Whereas doing a series of videos, I am not nearly as savvy at tech and editing as she is, and I feel like that would just be really slow and boring. Whereas like with a public speech, I can just pretend that the audience isn't there if I like get really intimidated.
It's true. I feel like I would have gone with your option like a few years ago until I got more comfortable with the camera. Like I'm still not fully comfortable with this giant cyclops eye. Hey everybody. I'm still not fully comfortable in front of the camera just talking like this is a good experience. I'm glad that we're doing this. But nowadays I would prefer to do videos just because I'm more comfortable now than I would in front of like a huge crowd. Don't know if my editing is quite as good as what he makes it out to be. I still know I've got a long way to go, though I do appreciate the compliments.
Yeah, but if you go back to what I said earlier about art, if you're already so terrible at something, then anyone who does better seems like a masterpiece. If you guys go to my channel and then go to one of her videos later, the difference is night and day. Like I can do like very minimalistic editing, but she can do like all these cool and fancy special effects, and I'm just like, I know how to make an audio track.
Well, thing is, I try to focus on like competing with myself and not on other people. So I wasn't thinking about like, you know, me versus you. I was thinking about like me versus me. Where did I start? Where am I now? Where could I be?
Well,
I know I can always do better.
that's also people in general, as they improve over time.
That's true. But I guess I can't fully take credit for some of the effects that you do see on my videos. If you look in my description boxes, you'll see that I find like free, no copyright, green screen effects that people put out for creators to use. Yeah, the timing and the splicing and everything is me, but I do actually, I guess it's a form of collaboration. You can find the green screen effects that I use in the description box, and really I think they're the more talented people than me just, you know, using their stuff. I would love to learn to animate, because I think they're the ones who really do create the magic, not so much me.
Yeah, that's good that you're giving credit where credit is due. That's a good life advice in general, because I like to insert a lot of jokes and sarcasm in my descriptions. So maybe like actually read my description, because I actually think about who's reading it, and sometimes I'll even make a joke about the fact that no one would bother reading this, so I might as well just laugh.
We're nearly done.
Yep.
It's the final countdown.
Yeah.
All right. Would you rather watch Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars. I've never seen Star Trek. And I love the lightsaber battles.
Don't make me choose. They're both good in their own ways. Which version of Star Trek?
Whichever version you want.
Okay, well, I really like the original series, though. I think my favorite is probably Next Generation. I love Data. He's great.
Data
He
is
makes
pretty
it for
nice.
me.
You always like to talk about how much data you've acquired from academic sources on your channel.
I don't think I'm gonna make it to the last question, Theresa.
There's a little flashing orange thing. We gotta
Oh
hurry.
dear.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up. They're both great.
All right. Last question. Play Ace Attorney or Five Nights at Freddy's, and why?
Oh gosh, this is so skewed for each of us. Well, I obviously would love to play an Ace Attorney game because I really, ever since I was a kid, I really liked detective stories. Like, I actually wanted to be a detective at one point when I was a kid. So I love being able to look at testimonies and say, no, wait a minute, that logic doesn't hold up. And then, like, have the satisfying objection thingy show up on the screen and finger-pointing animations. Very nice to say, like, I actually figured it out. Five Nights at Freddy's, I tried playing that on the Switch, and I couldn't get past the first night because I was like, what the heck is going on?
Oh, you just need some practice doing it in VR.
Oh dear.
Obviously, Theresa knew I would pick Five Nights at Freddy's. But my sister and I have talked about this. We don't know what is so addicting about Five Nights at Freddy's. We just love it. I think the lore is fascinating. There's a lot of symbolism in it. 1 minute left on the camera. The last game that came out, I did a review on his channel, so go check out that review.
And try to see
Check
how many
out-
lines I ad-libbed that was done
Yeah.
in her script.
He did that a lot. It's the only game that I actually follow. Thank you so much, Paul, for this idea and for doing this with me. Thank you so much, Theresa, for coming up with these questions that you obviously tailored to us. Any last notes for him?
I hope that you will be able to use your brains. because so many people rely too much on their feelings. God made us rational human beings, and that's what separates us from the animals.
That's actually a very good note for Psychology Channel. Anyway, guys, keep living nothing less than your best lives.